Yes, how are you doing?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure. We want to talk a little bit about businesses and how businesses start, how businesses grow, and looking at us right here in Asia as well, we are quite culturally dependent on how we run our businesses as well. A lot of times it's about the number crunching and it's about how much volume you can bring in. But like you say in your book as well, all that should change and is changing.
Yeah, it is changing because I think one of the things that we're blessed with as Asians is that we can work hard. We've got those very strong, hardworking values. But sometimes because we're head down and we're working so hard, sometimes we don't see better ways of doing things. And that's why I wrote this book. It's called The Great Business, Great Life, because it talks a lot about great business, yes, but it doesn't just stop there. Great business, great profit, more sales. But it talks about great life because it talks about us designing the life that we want, and then the business helps us to achieve what we want in life.
Okay.
Not the other way around. What a lot of us tend to do is, and I speak for probably a majority size of Asian entrepreneurs, what most of us do is we design the business. We usually have goals, we have visions and mission for our business.
Right.
And then whatever that's left with our life, okay, so I'll make do with the amount of time that I have to go and work out, spend time with my family. Usually people design the objectives from the business first, and then when they can, they design what they want out of their life. Not the other way around, because business is not the end. It's a means to an end.
Right.
And I've met people that I've asked so many times, would you be happy if you just had like $1 million in your bank account?
Yeah.
That's it.
I'd be happy.
Yeah, but if you can't use it.
Right, absolutely. It's not fulfillment, it's not achievement, it's just, like you said, a means to an end.
To an end. And the end is our life, be it social, community, family, love, health. And what I found is like a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of only paying attention to that part when they get that real knock in the head. And we've got this thing where and I'm not sure if this is just happening on YouTube, and a lot of people are just climbing up this ladder. There's this invisible ladder. Okay, if you're self-employed, okay, you're employed, and you go to self-employed, then you go to manager, then you go to... So it's a step, and people think that there's some kind of ladder, and we keep going up that ladder without really realizing what we really want in life. And it's actually okay to be self-employed. I work for myself. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I want to be a $20 million business with 200 employees. That's fine too. But what a lot of people don't realize is I'm getting bigger and bigger. And where does it stop? And so it's important that we design the life, and we're going, I'm quite happy where I am.
But how do you do that when you're trying to start a business or grow a business, break into an industry or market, at the same time trying to earn money, because at the end of the day, that also does account for a big part of being successful in life.
Yeah. And that's absolutely okay, Jessy. What is important is that that's what we want, not what somebody else wants, not what we think the community wants to see us do, not what my business partner wants, what my husband wants, what my wife... And so it's important, and I find a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs tend to forget that why. And we forget that why, and I use the word we. I'm in the same pot. And we tend to forget that why because sometimes there's too much busyness going around, and that busyness doesn't help us stop for a bit, review where we are. And I've got people that just, Maresa, I've just been so busy in the last 20 years, and I've realized that I keep running my business, it keeps getting bigger, but I don't feel happy.
Right.
Have you heard that before?
Yes, I have. You see people who have so-called everything and then yet still feel unfulfilled. They don't feel like they have achieved enough, and so you just get caught in this cycle, in this rut, and you just keep going and going and going. So, on one hand, it's good to be an entrepreneur, it's good to start your own business, have that vision and mission, but on the other hand, you must know why you're doing it. You must feel that you're doing it for a particular reason and that drive. So we look back at Asian culture. Many of our businesses here, even in Malaysia, are started by families, and they become huge, and it's a lot of it based on being hardworking and having family values as well. How do we make this, or how do we convert that to be more sustainable? Because the older leaders or the older business owners are going to move off, and it's got to, they have to make way for the young leaders as well.
Yeah, and that's a very very good topic, because you know, in Asia we have a very good statistic of a lot of family businesses, and as we speak, a lot of first generation have passed their businesses on to second, third generations as well. And what we find is that family businesses, as great as they are, and there's a lot of respect for the first generation for starting and for seeing this business, but over time, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, business has changed so much.
Yeah.
You know, I speak to a lot of business owners that have been around for a while, and they'll say, you know, Maresa, it's just a lot easier business 50 years ago. Not today, because of just the advent of, there's just so many there's so many more competitors. There's digital marketing. There is the World Wide Web. Information is just more available now, so it's not about us knowing more than the other anymore. Everybody knows the same thing.
And it can even come to a point where business doesn't even need a face anymore. You can just do it on an e-commerce platform.
Don't need an office.
Yeah.
Just a shared office is even fine. And you're right, just a website. E-commerce is good. So the landscape is changing so much, and yet a lot of the family businesses still get stuck in a certain culture. And that culture, sometimes it's bordering an efficient business and bordering disrespecting my family values. You see, that's the thing with Asian entrepreneurs, is that I want to make changes, but I don't want to disrespect my elders. And that's very, very important as well, because what we find are that there are a lot of first generation, they're still kind of in the business. And the second generation or the third generation struggle to try and get their changes through. Now, I don't really fault the first generation for still kind of hanging on, because they want to watch their second and their third generation kind of catch the ball and run with it. All right, you're kind of going okay. And they want to watch you do that. But how much is too much that we're not allowing the change and the culture to change?
Right. So I guess another important point is to lead and build this company through the different systems to help grow the people as well. So how do we focus on making and building these leaders? When we talk about leaders, future generation, we're talking about, of course, you know, I always talk about Gen Y, because they are misunderstood, but at the same time, they are what is making the ecosystem so dynamic.
Absolutely, absolutely. When it comes to running an efficient business, and what I talk a lot about in my book as well, is really building the systems and letting people manage the systems. What a lot of entrepreneurs do is they manage the people. So now that is a challenge. Why? Because when we're too hard working in the business and we're doing the business, we're actually running it on a regular basis, we're not giving enough space and empowerment to our people to run the business. Now, a very typical story is this. A very typical scenario, and I'll just like to share this with you, and a lot of people will relate to this as well. Okay, I'm a solo entrepreneur and I want to grow my business. Okay, you know, I'm good at sales, I'm good at operations, I'm good at everything.
Yeah.
Now I want to hire a salesperson. Okay, so I hire my salesperson, and then the lead comes in. Now when the lead comes in, I'll go, I'll make a decision. Do I pass this on to my salesperson because that's what he's hired for, or do I do it myself? But if I do it myself, I get the sale. I do get the sale because I'm really good at what I do, but if I pass it to him, it's always 50-50. So that's always a decision that entrepreneurs are making. And sometimes we make this decision to just, okay, I'll do it myself. And then we start grudging the fact that we hired this person, but we don't really give him enough to try. So what's wrong with that picture? We're overworking, and yet there are people in place.
Right.
How do we encourage? What should be the right way of doing it? Is to build the systems. That means while we work inside the business, we build the systems enough so that we can train people to manage the systems and still get the results as consistent as we would an entrepreneur or a business owner doing it himself or herself.
But that also comes to looking at how the organization is structured and looking at how you would your expansion plan as well. Let's talk about change. We know change is never easy. People always resist change. That's the first stop. The first stop is let's resist it. But if we're going to take leadership and we're going to provide the younger ones within that opportunity, that will come with change as well. So it's kind of win-win situation there if you can get the formula right.
I think there were so many books and literature that I've read about change, and but one of the things that truly inspires us today, and I'd say that change always begins with leadership. It begins, and if I had a dime for every time a business owner would come to me and say, "Don't coach me,"
you would be
coach
a billionaire.
Yeah, I know, I'd be a billionaire. No, I don't need the coaching. It's my staff that needs the coaching.
So here's the sort of miscommunication, or that they have that notion that someone else needs to be coached. Everyone in the ecosystem, in the business, needs to be coached differently, perhaps. All that and more through your book here, Great Business, Great Life. It's also a great hashtag, Great Business, Great Life.
Do a t-shirt.
That's right. Do get Maresa on of course, on your Facebook, where you can get more information from websites as well, how you can have it all in life. If you want a great business, you can, but you can also have a great life. Well, thank you, Maresa, for being in here and shedding light and some tips, especially
Thank you.
on how we can be happy overall.